Here we are, the week before Thanksgiving, and
I
I'm
can't wait for the week. One of my strange hobbies, and I call it strange, I make ice cream.
you make ice cream. Nice, Jimmy.
And it's a tradition of the family that I make three types of ice cream. For the kids who are now, I make vanilla. Okay, because and then I have to get the Maracena cherries and put one cherry on top of the vanilla
Nice.
cups that I make because they want the cherries. Okay, but for the adults, I make cherry pie, apple pie, and pumpkin pie, but in ice cream form.
Oh, nice.
So we don't have pies, but we have ice cream with pie flavors. So go and figure that out, US. Like they
Look
say,
at you, Jimmy.
that we say back home in Puerto Rico, of crazy people and of poets, we all have a little bit. So, and my family is not a little bit; it's a lot of bit. But that's another thing for another day. So,
That's awesome. Hey, everyone. It is From the Margins with my dear friend and mentor, James Lafont. Good to see you again, Jimmy.
good
And
to be seen.
I am looking forward to Thanksgiving too. So, a lot's going on per usual in our beautiful state and in our beautiful nation. We saw that Mayor-elect Madani of New York paid a visit with President Trump. Did you hear any outcome from that, or what would first of all, what would you expect the two to talk about?
Well, to be quite honest, they will talk about New York, like it or not. Trump is a New Yorker. He was born and raised in New York, and he has properties in New York. I mean, most
Mhm.
of his properties that he owns is not in Florida; it's in New York. He's still getting rent for them and selling them. So, yes, he that I'm sure they discuss, and at the same time, maybe agreeing to tone down the back and forth.
The
Look,
rhetoric,
yeah,
sure,
the
sure.
rhetoric. He's not a communist, and Trump is not a racist. He just takes advantage of it. This country being racist for him to get elected, but he's not necessarily as racist as most people think. He's more anti-Hispanic than he is against African Americans. It's a strange thing to say that, but that's what he is. But yesterday, I was at the Social Security, and a person approached me and said, "Hey, by the way, I have a comment to you, and I'm going to ask you a question to see if you can answer it." I said, "Okay. Of all these people who have been elected, which one is the most honest?" And I'm saying, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! You're talking about politicians and honesty. You know, this is a trick question.
Yes, it
It must be
is.
a trick question somehow. So please tell me your answer because I have to admit I couldn't come up with one that quick." He says, "Mandami." And I'm going, "Whoa, whoa! Why would you say that?" He says,
Yeah.
"Day one, he told us he was a Democrat. From day one, he told us what he was going to do once elected mayor. Didn't say he was going to put free buses or free daycare center or that did not come out the last week of his campaign. That was from the beginning all the way through. He has never tried to say, 'Hey, I am not what I am.' And to be quite honest, he ran against the most corrupt politician in the state of New York, which is Andrew Cuomo. And I'm going, okay. And I'm going, but then I sat down and said to myself, okay, is there a truth to this? Yeah. Did he lie to us and say, I am a capitalist? I believe in capitalism. I believe in the free market. I believe in this and that. No, he never told us that. From day one, he said, I am a social democrat. He did. There's no, uh, he didn't sugarcoat it or even lie about it. And when asked, he said, "Yes, I am." So, and from day one, he started talking about free daycare centers. Yes, he did. He started talking about free buses. Yes, he did. He said he was going to tax the rich to pay for that. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
So, it's not like, oh, this guy took it. No, he didn't take you by surprise. What took us by surprise is that knowing this, the majority of New Yorkers voted for him. That I think is where It lies. We try to say, well, this or that. Bill Maher, yes, you're panicked about this because your stupidity of that we need to go to the middle doesn't work. Okay? It doesn't
Mhm.
work. But here is where it becomes interesting. The voters are who decide. They decided in New Jersey, they decided in Virginia, they decided these were the people they wanted. And to a certain degree, they voted because they were against. I repeat myself, they were against the Republicans. There was a lot of independents that said, hey, we got to get rid of these people who want to be governors of our states who are saying that they're going to go along with whatever Trump says. We can vote for these people. Yes, that is very true. In Georgia, you got two people for the Public Commission Service who were Democrats who had never been elected, and that is independents and other people saying we need to get rid of these Republicans because they're crazy. So let's not start talking about that we need to go this way or that way, because at the end of the day, if anything was proven was that people elect candidates. You could say anything you want about Mandami. He has a charisma that a lot of politicians don't have. I'll give you an example of something that you know. When Bill Clinton ran the first time, it was strictly charisma.
Sure. Oh yeah.
To this day, you have a John F. Kennedy who was purely charisma. You since then Johnson, no charisma. Nixon, hell no. Uh, Carter, nah, not really. He was a nice guy, but he didn't have charisma. Reagan, hell no, no. Bush, no. Bill Clinton, yes. To
Yes.
some degree, and this may sound strange to some of you, after that, Bush had charisma. People liked him, and let's not talk about Obama. He had charisma. Trump, nah. By, by uh, Biden, no. Hell no. And no
No.
charisma. Uh, Biden was elected because they wanted to get rid of Trump. It was not that because they liked him
Yeah.
that much. And Trump came back because they wanted to get rid of Biden. And so they put him in. Right now, that's the biggest problem right now. But what do they talk about? It's a good thing. But I think what they did say, hey, let's tone it down. You govern and I'll govern, and we'll do whatever we can, and we'll see what can be done. But I understand that the next meeting he met with the governor of New York and Puerto Rico, and I understand they had some very interesting conversations.
Really.
Oh yes, oh
Is
yes,
he? Is and we talked about this that this is his attempt to tap into that Puerto Rican demographic in New York, which is a large demographic, and hopefully continue to gain more and more support moving forward.
yes. And the thing I think he has, and the thing that he has, and this is the thing that I don't think people understand. The governor's going to run in 26 for re-election. She's going to need his support. I'm sorry. He has a very well organized machinery in New York City. Let's stop underestimating. The man got elected, okay? When people know, no, he got elected. He has
Yes,
a
he
machine.
did.
And I'm going to say this of all the candidates that have run for governor of New Jersey and Virginia, the best social media, his.
Yes.
Down. Hands down.
Yes.
So she's going to need to go on social media with him to help her get the young vote and all that. So yeah, she might say no now, but when she needs him to get her over the hill, trust me, she's going to say yes. And when most of the people in the city of New York want him to get themselves reelected or elected, they're going to say yes. And the assembly is going to say, yeah, this is what you want, you're going to get it. So yeah, but it's kind of interesting because there's no more opposite poles than these two, Trump and Mandami, and they got into a room and they met and they talked. And I'm going to say this, America, if Trump and Mandami can meet and talk, maybe we should follow the example of talking to each other.
I agree with you, Jimmy. And there's no doubt that 2 million people went to the polls out of about what 5.1 million registered voters in New York City, and that was some big numbers that they haven't seen in years. And so Mandani is a driving force, and I think he, like you said, he's going to drive Governor Hochul to the left uh, to stave off a significant challenge by Elise Stefanik, the former Republican Congresswoman. And if she wins, Hochul is going to have to deliver. If she does promise Mandani some of the things that he's asking for.
And it's going to have to happen. And the truth of the matter is, realistically, politics is a exchange of favors.
Yeah,
I'll do
sure.
you this favor if you do me this favor. And basically, if he helps her out and she gets reelected, and everybody says, look, the majority of the votes of New York and New York City. Let's stop pretending. The state is large, but I would say that 40% of all the votes come in from the five boroughs. Okay, and that it's like
Yeah,
Chicago. Chicago, Illinois is a huge state, but the majority of the votes are in Chicago.
that's
Yeah,
correct.
and when I say Chicago, the suburbs, because people say,
The
well,
metropolitan area.
the metropolitan area, yes, but you could joke as much as you want about it, but it's something that's going to have to happen. So we'll see about that. So let's talk about our great state of Florida and the morons that are in charge of it. Look, as a person who owns property, I would love not to have to pay tax,
Sure.
property taxes. Everybody would. But then again, uh, I'm going to wonder what's going to happen to the road outside of my house. Who's going to fix it when the county comes down? Mr. O'Font, we don't have any money. We counted on the taxpayers' money, and we have no money. And we have a responsibility to collect these taxes and to maintain and repair and deliver services to you. But since we didn't collect the taxes, our responsibility to you is disappeared. We
Yeah.
don't have this responsibility. And by the way, we're not going to educate your kids either, because combined with the property taxes are the school board taxes that
Right.
would also tell you, hey, we're not going to pay. Look, I understand that people get in their mind certain things. I've reached age of 65. My house is paid for. Why do I have to pay taxes? You're paying taxes on the property that you own, even if you own it to the bank or if it's paid off. That's where you, that's how the county makes its money. I don't have any kids of school age. Okay, and when you
Right.
had kids of school age, the people who didn't have kids of school age were paying taxes, so your kids could go to school. If it was strictly on the people who have it, well, yeah, that would be nice, but then we would have to triple their taxes because they have, and then you will start to get well, my kids go to charter school. Well, charter school come out of public school funds. Oh, my kids go to private school. Well, and so on. Realistically, I don't think the Florida legislator has the capability of doing a proper job of cutting taxes. Look,
Mm.
saying we're going to cut it 10% off everybody, yes, but how are you going to recoup that 10% for the counties and for other entities that depend on this? Where's the money going to come from? Oh, well, they're going to have to adjust their belts. Okay,
Ooh.
well, okay, that's fine. And when they start saying that we're not providing services because we don't have the money, who's going to answer that? You, legislators, say, oh, well, yeah, we did tell them to adjust their belts. Well, we didn't think they were going to do that, but we just can't. Look, does anybody want to pay taxes? No,
No.
I don't. Okay, so and I'll give you an example of how ridiculous this is. If I'm the opinion that the U.S. uh, Pentagon and the Department of War now, it used to be the Department of Defense. You can call it whatever you want. I don't give a shit. I are wasting my money and I say I don't want to pay taxes because they waste my money. Can I do that? You say, well, that's absurd. Well, that's as absurd as saying I paid off my house. Sorry. That's as absurd as saying I paid off my house. So basically, if a rich person comes here and buys his house cash, he doesn't have to pay property taxes. But if a poor or middle class person has to go to a bank and obtain a mortgage to buy his house, that middle class poor person has to pay taxes. Or after 30 years, because I stopped paying my mortgage and I paid it off, now I'm rewarded not paying taxes simply because I paid off my mortgage. I'm not sure the logic of this. So I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not sure where this is going. And I'm more concerned about that our governor is out of here. Yeah, he's endorsed as lieutenant governor because he thinks he could have a puppet that way. But this election, at the end of the week, is going to be Byron, Jerry. That's it. Why? Byron has the endorsement of Trump.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. When they go to the primaries, who's Trump or does it? Okay. That is the so-called Republican Party these days. If he tells them to jump off a cliff, no problem. They do. Unfortunately, in Florida, we don't have any, so. But Deming should win the Democrat nomination, even though I must say to this day, I'm not sure who's running Jerry's Hispanic campaign, and that has me extremely concerned.
Yes, Jimmy. Yeah, it's been a week now. Well, no, more than a week, 2 weeks, and it's been silent. I mean, you would think he'll hit the ground running and announce such and such is handling such and such or whatever. That's a good point. That's a very good point. Our mutual friends haven't said anything, and I'd like to know who would be, running his Hispanic apparatus.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, with that, we locally, we're going to have to continue paying taxes. We have roads that have to be constructed. We have schools that have to be constructed. We have, we have to have dog pounds that have to be managed. We have to have waters, and sometimes even what I would call the light system that gear our traffic. There's so many things that the counties and cities do that people just don't know. They think that they're wasting their money. Look, is there waste? Yes,
of course.
all of us waste some of our money. It's human nature. We buy things that and then we go, why did I buy this? I really didn't need it. At the time, it looked like a good deal, but but you bought it. So that is going to be an interesting thing, but I don't see it happening. Now, what I do see happening is as follows. We're going to have the lieutenant governor running for governor.
Right.
He's not going to make the nomination, but the Republicans, I keep hearing, are going to run somebody against the attorney general.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And that is Uthmeyer?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And you know why?
Has he ruffled too many feathers?
Was he the chief of staff of Governor DeSantis?
Yes, he was. And with all the scandals with the nonprofit that his wife was involved in, James was also gave his seal of approval, allegedly.
Well, and let's go a step further. What's the function of a chief of staff? To push back and to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
He was the bad guy for almost 7 years. So Did he make enemies down the road? Yes.
Hmm.
Was he one of the people who pushed DeSantis to run for president?
Oh,
Yes.
sure.
Does Trump dislike him with a passion? Yes.
Yes.
So, do I need to add any other factors to the fact that the Republicans are looking for somebody else to run against them? No.
Nope. No.
Realistically, no. So, they are. I keep hearing certain names, but the two names that I heard, I don't even know who they are, so I couldn't tell you if there's any truth to it or if these people are qualified. But then again, he's not qualified to be attorney general. Well, yeah, he's an attorney, that he is, but does he know how to? No. Does he understand criminal law? Hell no. Does he
Mhm.
understand really uh, environmental law? Hell no. Does he understand corporate law? Not really. So
Okay.
really, what he does, what he's there is because he was a chief of staff. When Moody was promoted, he was put in that position, and basically he's not qualified. And he's the same one who keeps saying that he's investigating Orange County. He's been investigating Orange County for the last 8 months, and nothing has happened. And this is from what I've heard from the people in the Attorney General's office, people who are career people. There's nothing here. This is him just throwing smoke, just like the CFO is throwing smoke. There's
With,
nothing there.
with
But
this audience.
the good thing that they have is they disorganize. No, let me not say that because that's not fair. That's not true. The Florida Democratic Party is not disorganized. It's non-existent.
Sure.
That's a better description.
Sure.
The chair is more involved in Israel than she is in recruiting candidates or finding funds for candidates or helping candidates. Right now, we really don't have a serious candidate for U.S. Senate. We really don't. We have, yes, a past school board member from Brevard who she's running. I'm sorry. No, no. I'm more qualified than she is, and I wouldn't even think about it. Uh, you have, yes, we do have somebody who's running out of Miami for attorney general. Who is an attorney? He's qualified, and he might make it. Do we have anybody for CFO that's qualified? No. A secretary of agriculture? No. Governor, 2 weeks ago we got Demings. Prior to that, and did Nikki recruit Demings?
No. She's already signed up for David Jolly.
Bingo.
And so she
Best that
already
the Florida
got on
Democratic Party
board early.
could do is find former Republicans who are now Democrats and run them for governor. They did it twice with Charlie Crist, and now they want to do it. I'm sorry, people, get yourself a real Democrat, not a Dino. But then again, to a certain degree, I really believe, and this is my wholehearted feeling, that Nikki's a Dino.
That Nikki is what, Jimmy?
A Dino.
Oh, interesting. Because she's taken pretty much a hands-off approach to Florida politics, Democratic politics, and
No,
she's not laser focused on improving the party.
no, she's because if you talk to her of what she thinks a Democrat should be, is center right.
Okay.
Center right is a Republican. Sorry,
Right.
not a Democrat. Center right, and basically she wants them to make a pledge pro Israel, which I'm going to say this, that has nothing to do with the Democratic Party.
Right. I mean, I think that's something more personal. Hey, I pledge support for Israel. Okay. But it shouldn't be part of my, Florida politics. That's
And much less if you're wanting to run for office.
sure. Oh, so
Look,
Nikki will want a candidate who's running for a county commissioner to make a pledge for in support of Israel when Israel has very
especially if you're in
little.
South Florida, yes.
Really, even in South Florida, which I understand is a large Jewish demographic, but again, I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with Florida politics.
It doesn't. And the problem here is, look, let me define to you what I consider the Democratic Party. Democratic Party is the middle class. Okay,
Yeah,
is the middle class and the poor. Okay, the well-educated and non-educated. Uh, Middle class. That's how we attract the African American community and the Hispanic community. Contrary to popular belief, those who vote on both communities, African American and Hispanic, are middle class. Now,
yeah,
are there people who work in the fields that are Hispanic? Yes, and we all know they can vote. So
that's right. Yes,
you know, and yes, are there groups within the Hispanic community that turned off by politics? Yeah.
that's
Are there people in the African American community that are turned off by politics?
oh yeah,
Oh yeah. And in the white community, you better believe it. So
exactly.
when people tell me, "Oh, Hispanics don't come out in high numbers," these are the whites. As a matter of fact, right now this country is voting in presidential elections between 50 to 52% of those register to vote, not people. People register to vote. And if you go
Right.
even further, you and I who do local politics know to get them to go down ballot is a problem.
It is difficult.
Okay,
It is
they'll
very
vote for presidents, congressmen, senators, and walk out. Literally,
exactly.
walk out. That's very common. So when
And
people tell me that there is an apathy, yeah, there's an apathy because right now the Florida Democratic Party has done zero to get out the African American vote, zero to get out the Hispanic vote, and basically has tried all their efforts with South Florida, which there's a lot of people who live down there, but won't give you an election. As a matter of fact, the most blue county in Florida is where you and I live.
the most blue county.
Yes.
So there's a lot of, as we know, there's a lot of energy happening in regards to the 2026 election. Many candidates feel emboldened. The party feels emboldened with what happened in New York, California, Jersey, and Virginia.
Oh,
However,
don't leave out Georgia and don't leave out Kentucky
yes,
because
Georgia and Kentucky, yes, down ballot races.
yes, and that was the interesting. They were those were down ballot races,
Right.
elected, and in Kentucky, the supermajority Republican was significantly reduced. They still
Correct.
have a majority,
Majority,
not a
right.
supermajority. So now, if the governor vetoes anything that comes from the legislator, they don't have a two-thirds to overcome his veto.
But Jimmy, what use is it to have one bluest of blue county out of a county system of 67 counties when you still have preemption, you
Mhm.
still have super majorities or majorities in both houses of the state legislature, and you have a Supreme Court and a governor's mansion occupied by dominated by Republicans. What 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 use is it in not having a 67 county strategy when you've got really one county holding up everyone else? And even then, that's difficult.
Well, I'm going to go back to Ferguson theory.
Sure.
We applied it here in Orange County. Look, if you could ask me why Scott won the first election, uh, was because the Democrats decided to spend money in the Panhandle. Now, under Ferguson's philosophy that he taught me was these counties, you could do whatever you want. They're red as red comes. Don't waste your money there.
Mhm.
Concentrate. Look, you have seven large counties in Florida. Seven. Hillsborough, Duval. Okay,
Yeah.
Orange,
Hmm.
Broward, Palm Beach, Miami-Dade.
Yeah.
Seventh one,
Can we call Miami-Dade? I mean, recently.
huh? No, we
Uh,
lost Miami-Dade, but it's still a large county.
okay. Okay.
We cannot say it's not. I'm not saying that they're Democrat, but
Oh, okay. Okay. Fair. Fair enough.
and the seventh one is Hillsborough, which is right next to Tampa. Okay, now the truth of the matter is that basically, if you concentrate there, if you concentrate there, and you gerrymander, and you not don't have the House and the Senate gerrymandered, you should come up with at least 44% of the House and 44% of the Senate. But because we're gerrymandered, we're screwed.
Right.
And that's why many of the people, Democrats who have been elected, decide to change parties because there's no way they're going to be in the majority unless they switch parties.
Right.
Uh, that is, there's a degree of truth to that. But Florida has had this problem for the last 20 years. No, I take that back. That's wrong. That's incorrect. For the last 35 years. Every 4 years, we elect a new chairman. The chairman function, it was to fundraise, to pay for the cost of the office in Tallahassee, and to waste money on consultants who were supposed to help you out, but at the end, House Victory did House Victory, Senate Victory did Senate Victory, and if you were running for the House or Congress, people in Washington would help you with that. The only races that they were supposed to help were governor, attorney general, CFO, and
Yes.
secretary of agriculture.
Right.
Those they were supposed to help you out. What happened? They never knew how to do it. They never had the consultants that they were paying were morons. They did not know how to run a statewide campaign. As a matter of fact, for those of you who do not know this, there was a big problem between Andrew Gilliam and the state party because Andrew Gilliam felt that he was giving away his money to the state party to manage a campaign that was not helping it and not doing what needed to be done. So he hired a company out of, I think, Tampa or St. Petersburg, can't remember, and managed his campaign. Were they as good as the people in Tallahassee? No, they were better. Were they good enough? That's another that we could discuss. But were they better than Tallahassee? My my next door neighbor who hates politics would have done a better job than Tallahassee. I have my faith in the Florida Democratic Party is less than zero. If there's such a
Wow. Really.
I have none. Nikki, do us a favor, quit. Let somebody who has the best intentions of the Florida Democratic Party run it. I know you're getting paid $100,000 a year, and it's difficult for you to let go of that little money. But with all due respect, do it because you have been the biggest disaster that our party has had. Sorry, but I had to get that off my chest. Now,
Makes sense.
do you have a question for me of what I just said?
I do, Jimmy. Okay, so Ferguson did have a logical plan, and I think what the Florida Democratic Party does is that it leaves a lot of its resources on the table. You know, for those county, and well, let's take the Panhandle as you were saying. Yeah, it's ruby red. However, there's Democrats there, as we saw in the race for um, whose seat, not Waltz's seat, but Matt Gates' seat. We had um, the candidate Gay um, come make a good run, a very good run in that special election. And is it I can't Escanaba County?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember that the Democrats actually did better than the Republicans in that special election, and so there's that hope. Um, so there are Democrats in these red areas that could help other counties that maybe border them, that are maybe a little bit more blue, or they can help counties that are down in South Florida in phone calling, mail campaigns, things like that. And I think if you coincides it not coincides if you gather these different DECs and activate like a go team, an A team that's ready when the special election comes. Gather all these resources, start making phone calls, even though someone's running in the downstate, but the calls are coming from up north. Another thing is, whew, the Democratic tent is very large. And what we're seeing in candidates being run here in Orange County may not be the type of Democrat that will be successful down in Miami Dade, for instance. Um, how do you manage the whole big tent that the Democrats have? And maybe I think I know the answer to this, or at least part of the answer, and get everyone on the same page.
It's not as difficult as you do, but I'm a firm believer of the Ferguson thing.
Me too.
Do I really want to spend $2 million in the Panhandle so I lose only by 29,000 or 30,000 votes,
No, I
or
don't
do
blame
I want to spend $2 million in Metro Miami Dade so I can win it back? Are there more Democrats in there? Yes. Have we done anything to recruit Democrats? No.
you.
But then again, we know that push comes to shove, a lot of these so-called independents to vote. Did we do anything to get out the vote? If I'm going to say, well, let's do it in the Panhandle or Miami Dade, I would say let's do it in Miami Dade. The problem that I'm having is what I call these bullshit things. Special elections are always closer. That's what
Sure.
we call special elections. But I would guarantee you in 2026, the election in Escambia County is not going to be as close as it was the last time around. Why? Because first, it's going to be an incumbent, it's not going to be an open seat. And second, it's still not a presidential election.
Okay.
So that would happen. Look, I would put all my energy in the 7 counties for now. Let's get them strong. Once they're strong, then we can start working Seminole County. Then we can start working Lake County.
Wait.
Then we can start working Collier County. Then we can start working all these other counties one by one and accepting that there's some counties that we never going to win. The other one that we could go back to try because, and we were kind of successful, Duval County. Duval County is a purple county. Goes both ways for those of you who do not know it. So we could go up back to Duval County. Work for Volusia County, which for some reason we have abandoned.
Yeah, I don't get it.
But right now, I would try to get as strong as possible in South Florida. Why? Because the majority of the votes are down there. And if you could win, okay, these counties by 30,000, 50,000 votes each, and end up with between all these 70, close to 500,000 votes, that's going to put a lot of pressure on the Republicans to win a small county that normally they win by 8 to 10,000 votes to win it by more because you're going to have to win at least 50 of these at 8,000 to compete. So I would go put money back in Metro Dade, bring it back. I would put money in some other areas, but realistically, the Florida Democratic party needs to get rid of three things: Nikki, the consultants, and the bullshit of the state committee man and state committee women. We need to go back to the good old days where you had one committee man and one committee woman from all the 67 counties, which added up to approximately 200 some people in there. And those people, we would sit down, we would negotiate. If you give me this, I will give you that. Like it was a legislator, elect a good chairman, and spend the money wisely. Right now, no. Right now, you have too many committee men, too many committee women, and it's reached a point that they cannot travel, they cannot meet it properly in a Zoom meeting, and they cannot discuss matters. As a matter of fact, the biggest joke is Orange County is that we have something like 32 committee men, and half of the people are not full, and the other half don't know each other, and they don't even like them. As a matter of fact, for those of you who do not know, a couple of our committee men in Orange County are social democrat.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. And Jimmy, to speak to the whole structure of the Democratic Party with the state committeemen, state committee women, and precinct leaders and things like that, it's common, like you said, 32. They don't know each other. They don't communicate. As a former precinct lead, you know, the only time that I was contacted was when it was election time to do something, and there was really no motivation. Just because I was by default, the precinct lead, it really didn't matter anything, and there was really no continual, no camaraderie, no connection. Um, to be a Democrat at the time, just to be a Democrat, it was really there was no persuasion, then and no reward. I think the Democrats could do a whole lot better in that department. But that's something for them to figure out. And then again, Jimmy, their bylaws. I mean, just try and make sense of the bylaws. Just spun my head, and it just didn't make sense. It was so fragmented and rigid at the same time. And
Well, and we go back. You're right, but we go back to what I call lack of leadership. Okay,
yeah,
you want to talk about bylaws and regulations? If you ever sit down to read the Republican Party's ones, they're really more complex than. As a matter of fact, believe it or not, they do say that if you both parties have this, if you elected a chairman, you have to elect a vice chairwoman. Both parties say that.
instead of the competent person,
Okay,
Jesus.
they do say that. They don't follow it. But right now, this is the truth of the. You want to know the difference between both parties? Mr. Trump, yes. Uh, the bylaw says here that you have to do this. You know his response says, "Fuck you, I'm going to do whatever I want."
Yes.
And nobody challenges.
Yeah.
Right now, in that matter, Nikki is right like Trump. She's not following the regulations. She has never had. She does whatever she damn pleases. So basically, we could have regulations, but nobody's enforcing them. So basically, they're nice to be written on a piece of paper. They sound good, but nobody's following them. So that's not the problem. The problem is one of leadership. We right now, the Republicans are led by Donald Trump, who, by the way, is kind of smart because
Oh,
somebody asked me, how can you change on the Epstein? Three things. Number one, he saw the writing on the wall.
mhm.
That his party was going to vote to release this. They
Yes.
did not want to go back to the community and say, yeah, I voted against releasing the Epstein file because I wanted to keep good peace with the president. No, no, no. That's not going to go well with the public.
Right.
Two, two, basically, he had a problem with the fact that he was afraid that his name was going to come out. But Pat Bondi came and said, "Hey, Mr. President, you sent me a text saying that you wanted me to investigate the Democrats and the Epstein file. So even if they do pass this thing and it comes to your desk and you sign it, I will respond that the Epstein files are currently on the investigation and we cannot release them. And I'll take the hit for you. Watch that coming up down in the theater nearby you very soon because
Mm.
that is what he's relying on. He didn't change. He made sure that they're not going to come out. And to be quite honest, this is going to be something even more interesting because they're not going to send anything more to Congress because they say, no, we're under investigation. We're investigating Bill Clinton. We're investigating Dave Washington. We're investigating all these people, these Democrats who
Larry
we know.
Summers.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Larry Summers came up and he had to quit.
That's right.
Okay.
That is correct. Prince Andrew.
He's no longer Prince. Take off that. His name is
Yes,
Andrew.
Mr. Andrew. And Jimmy, let's also
Or
add.
Andrew, if you want to call him that.
I also want to add the fact that nearly $1 billion was ran through J.P. Morgan by Epstein as he was managing these accounts of all the people he may have been blackmailing. That's a lot of money. And there were 15, I'm sorry, 15, 5,000 referrals to the feds from J.P. Morgan to, I believe, the Department of Justice, the DOJ, saying, "Hey, this is kind of concerning." So this is the DOJ going back years, not just before he was arrested, but going back years because all these financial transactions were taking place, nearly $1 billion. So I think there's folks who have high positions in various forms of our society that are in these files. And I think you're right. The Democrats have fallen into a trap. I do want to say that if there was anything more about Trump in the files, I'll be surprised that it was anything close to being damaging of any sort because the Democrats went after Trump with how many indictments? 90 plus indictments, you know, and they tried everything they could to keep him off the ballot. They raided his homes, and also the Democrats had the Epstein files. Biden's DOJ had the Epstein files. So my thinking is if they really did not want Trump to be anywhere near government again, they would have leaked or would have just released the files themselves to
Well,
implicate.
the problem is that the way we put it, we assume things not in evidence. First of all, apparently, from what we have, there is no files where he kept those. Uh, you know, John Smith was with this girl. Peter Davis was with that. Those files don't exist. We know they don't.
Well, the witnesses, and there's still witnesses that are alive, and the young lady who unalived herself, they allegedly named names.
They did name names. That is correct. But the problem here is, for some reason that is not clear, because let's stop pretending this, okay? Trump was president for 4 years.
Yes, sir.
He was, and he had two attorney generals. As a matter of fact, he had three. Let's not pretend. He had three attorney generals, and basically, under his watch, the Mr. Epstein hanged himself, committed suicide. Most of the people in this country don't believe that he did. That's why I'm using this. Me, look, I don't trust the Department of Corrections. I don't trust anybody. And the fact that there's a minute missing a video, that bothers me. It really does. Especially the minute that's missing is when he's supposed to hang himself. How fucking convenient. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If you want to create ways to create people to think about conspiracy, that is the best way to do it. Okay, the best way to kill it would be that you could have the video that was in his thing, him tying around all alone and hanging himself. You don't have that. So could somebody else have killed and choked him to death? Possible. Okay, but that was under Trump. Okay. Look, all these rich and powerful people who were there, girls were interviewed.
Yeah.
And they named names. The names I most repeated was Epstein and his girlfriend, and other men. Prince Andrew, we know, was mentioned, and that's why he's out. There's other people who have since deceased or whatever that were never indicted. The truth of the matter is that Trump had 4 years to indict people too. I'm not saying that Biden is clear. Don't misunderstand. I'm not saying no. He was. And if I really want to be kind of bad about this, Obama had 4 years. His last 4 years is when the thing really hit the fan. Okay? And his Department of Justice, I don't know how much they investigated or didn't investigate this, but really you have Obama, you have Trump, and you have Biden, and you have Trump coming back into recently opposing releasing these files. Okay, let's stop. Oh no. Now he's changed his mind, but until recently he had opposed it. Look, my expectation is there's nothing there. I can't think of Epstein being so stupid of keeping files. Now, the testimony of the young ladies, yes, it's going to be there. Was there enough collaborating evidence to put these guys away? Maybe, maybe not. And you go just on their word? Well, you could try.
But Jimmy, I think there's a bigger issue that goes beyond just the names, whether they're aligned with the liberals or the conservatives, Democrats or the Republicans. I think what we'll find, the hideous human trafficking network that was created by Epstein, that entails, that embroils the banking system, like J.P. Morgan, the political system, like Bill Clinton. It has tentacles across the world. That's what I'm afraid that we may see, that may be exposed, and how it's so interwoven into our everyday society that it's going to be a situation that Americans will be appalled like they've never been appalled before, and disgusted and angry, scared for their own children.
You're right. But at the same time, we're going to be discussing something that happened that we don't have any evidence that is currently happening. What we do have evidence that is currently happening is that you have people in the Saudis and the other countries in the Mid-East buying off Trump, paying him money in exchange for favors and other matters. We have that going on with other countries in the world. But it doesn't involve children. It doesn't involve sex. So it's not as... And how can I say this? Concerning to most people. The other is more concerning. You have something that happened. I'm not trying to minimize it. But at the same time, something that we don't have any evidence that is happening today. Okay, and to think that powerful men are corrupt is nothing new. But the
Mhm.
question is here is that I don't think, and this is where it's going to become interesting. I think what's going to explode is the amount of people, including Donald Trump, who know what was going around and did nothing about it.
Sure.
Look, we might not be able to prove that Donald Trump did not know about Epstein completely. The young lady that claimed that he treated her nicely worked for Donald Trump and Mar-a-Lago, was stolen and taken to Epstein next door, and he had no idea what was going on. Okay, I'll give you credit for that. He went to the parties and see all these young girls dancing with older men in those parties, and he couldn't put one plus one is two. Then he's more of a moron than I think he is, and I don't think he's that much of a moron. But okay, uh, that like somebody said about Andrew, former Prince Andrew. Okay,
Sure. Sure, John.
really, you saw him all these years hanging out with young girls in New York, in Epstein's houses, and nobody started to think where did these girls came from.
Hmm. Now, they didn't worry about it when they're in the moment.
And that is my biggest problem. I think that there's pictures of Trump with young ladies.
Yes.
Okay, did he abuse them or not? We don't know. But the problem is, look, did J.P. Morgan look the other way? I'm not sure they did. They reported it to the Department of Justice. In fairness, they did. They
They
said,
did. They did. They did. But they kept taking the money. $1 billion is
"Oh,
not.
wait, no, hold it. Let's get to real worlds." Department of Justice didn't say, hey, stop taking the money. This is kinky money or this is wrong money or anything. Their duty as a bank is to say, hey, Department of Justice, there's something here. Investigate. They investigate. And when the Department of Justice comes back and say, hey, stop doing this because this is dirty money, that's fine. Now, the truth of the matter is that of this day, 2025, the Department of Justice and the IRS has never been able to prove that that money was dirty. That's the one part that we need to understand. That J.P. Morgan was laundering money. Who said that? The, some people that come up with some theories. Yeah. Is there anything the Department of Justice has ever said that Epstein? Or what? No, they did say that he trafficked in young ladies, and basically, the person who was trafficking more than Epstein was his girlfriend.
Giselle.
Is that okay? She was the one who was convincing them, bringing them over,
That's
talking to
true.
them, and doing all the whole stuff. So realistically, that was the biggest problem. So when people say that they were stealing them from this house or doing this or doing no. The truth of the matter, it was her more than anybody else, and um, there's never been. And this is the sad part because this is a really sad part. And I'm going to say this very respectful. It's never been proof that these powerful men gave money to Epstein to have sex with these girls. There was more of a proof that these girls were given to these rich, powerful men in exchange for a favor.
Sure.
So the money that was in the bank, yeah, was it dirty? To this day, I have not heard somebody say, "Hey, there's $250,000 that Bill Clinton gave you in exchange for sex for these girls." It's never come out. Not under Obama, not under Trump first, not under Biden, and not
Yep.
even under Trump second. It hasn't come out. We all suspect it, and I have no doubt that that's probably true. But with all due respect, J.D. Morgan reported it and said, "This looks bad. Department investigate. Okay, we're going to investigate it." Did they ever come back and say, hey, you're right, J.D. Morgan, this is wrong? No. So J.D. Morgan had no responsibility to say, hey, we're going to stop taking the money because we feel it's bad. There's something here which we
Yeah.
can't prove it, but we're going to stop doing business with you because there's something bad here, and I can't prove that there's anything bad, but you're going to sue me. Plus, yeah, I'm going to stop taking billions of dollars of business simply because I have a suspect, even though the Department of Justice has never confirmed that what I'm saying is true. You see, the problem here is one that I hate to say this, but either there's two things: either
Okay.
Department of Justice investigated and there was nothing there, which is possible, or the Department of Justice looked the other way. And I'm saying this, and I have a problem saying the second one because that would be the Obama Attorney General, Mr. Oh my God,
Eric Holder.
Eric Holder, who I hold in high standards. Then the first, the first Attorney General of Trump was kind of wishy-washy, but Burr was kind of a good guy. He knew what he was doing. Okay. Under Biden, Gorgeous, I trust the man. He was up and up. The one right now, Pam Bundy, is the most corrupt person I've ever met in my life. That's that one I would not go. If I wouldn't throw her from here to the corner. So yes, which is kind of interesting. I'm going to ask you this question: we're going to release the Epstein files on the most corrupt Attorney General office in history of the United States. That's going to be highly good. So, what I would say is, people, there's something there, and I agree. If it stinks, it's because it's rotten. But I can't prove, and it hasn't been proved, that this money was used for sex trafficking, and that's why the Department of Justice never told, "Hey, I'm going to keep this money," and Chase, stop taking this money. No, and God knows that Chase reported this in 2000, I think 10.
Okay. Well, we're going way back. So that was under the tenure of, let's see, Eric Holder.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. People, we've had 4 attorney generals, 5 attorney generals. Uh, so I'm not sure. I think that we all know there's something wrong there, but like they say in my profession, but proving it is another thing. And I don't think the evidence is clear enough to prove that that was it. And it's particularly because what we know is that what was the girls were used in exchange for political favors. Not that there was a, hey, you want this girl for X amount. I don't think that was the agreement. So, and technically, legally, for many people, that it's a difference with, no, it is a difference in saying, hey, that money is tinted because Bill Clinton gave it to Epstein to have sex with that girl.
No, it's blackmail.
Yeah, but there's nothing there. Well, let's come up with your favorite time of all of you, the fuck ups of the week.
Indeed.
Okay, the fuck ups of the week. I'm going to start with the Democrats.
Okay.
Basically, the Democrats are fucking up by using what I call false expectations.
Okay.
They're still looking at Tennessee, and they're going to say, "Hey, we're going to have a special election, and we're going to lose by less than we did the previous time, and that means that we are doing better." People, let me tell you something about the District 11 in Tennessee. The candidate that you have as a Democrat is extremely progressive. She's not a centrist, not even close. So if she wins, makes it a close margin, does that mean we should go with the progressive part of the party and not the middle? As a matter of fact, for that matter, I could take my own state. The person up in the Panhandle who got closer than ever, and the person next door to me here in Brevard, they were progressive, and campaigns were run extremely progressive. So I'm not sure when people say, "Oh, look how close it was." You still don't have a leader.
Yeah.
You're still divided in the Senate. And as of today,
Yeah.
3 leading candidates for presidency, Newsom, AOC, And believe it or not, number 3 is Bernie. And number 6,
Really? It's
really,
not Kamala.
Kamala is not. It's not even. She's in a single district, single number
Digit. Yeah.
digit. She's not going to run. As, no. Look, Kamala doesn't have a chance in hell to run for president.
Yeah.
Okay, fuck up the week for the Democrats. I mean Republicans. And this one is kind of interesting. Okay, you were so afraid of Donald Trump that more than 50% of the party was willing to vote against the release of the Epstein files and have to deal with the general public than to defy Trump. The only reason you voted for the release of the Epstein files is because Trump ordered you to do so.
Yeah.
You have proven to once more that you do not listen to the public, you listen to the White House. And at this point, you have fucked up beyond repair. Now, I want to see how good you're going to be when the Department of Justice tells you, hey, we cannot release this because this part's under investigation. We cannot release that part because they're not going to release everything. What you should do, if you have the cojones, is to do a closed door meeting with the victims and get the names from the victims. Don't depend on the Department of Justice. If you really want to know what happened,
Yes.
talk to the victims. Or have your staff meet with them and get the names of the ones that the victim are saying that did this to them. And you will be surprised because the abuse of these girls, from what I understand, is one thing in the year 2000s that was bipartisan.
Yeah.
Look, sexual perverts does not have a political party.
It does not. It
At all.
does not.
So, with that, hit that button, subscribe. Hit
Yes.
that button, like, dislike. Hey, I like the comments. I like the guy from New Jersey. I like what you said. I disagree with you. Giving $50,000 to people is not going to help our problem. That was like when Bernie Sanders in 2015 suggested $15 an hour. Right now, you go into work at the McDonald's and you start at 13. So what worked 8 or 9 years ago does not work today. If you put everybody at $50,000, then that is your minimum salary. And with all due respect, that's all you've done is you change the minimum salary. So the economy is to give people the chance to make money and stop stagnating things against us to avoid us from making money or to avoid from us to have the same chance that other people have. With that in mind, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you have a lot of turkey. You watch a lot of football on the day. Realistically, the city of Detroit, the city of Dallas always have a football game on that day, or like I like to call it, Detroit, Dallas, the double D football day of it. So enjoy, but most important than anything else, enjoy family. Because when everything comes down, politics, the most important thing in life is family. Everything else is unimportant. With that, I'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.
Take care, Jimmy. God bless.
God bless you too. Take care.
Bye now.
Bye.